abandoning the company of worldly people, performing approved devotional practices. And then he says, I have never possessed these 6 devotional qualities. How then shall I give up the association of Maya to worship your lotus feet, O Lord? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is praying like this in this prayer. And for me, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has always been he is one of the examples of one of those personalities that we have on our path that teaches us by example, by his life. And so I remember a couple years before Mother Yamuna left her body, a couple years before she left, my husband and I, we were very privileged to be able to be in a gathering with her. And there were just a few devotees that were gathered together, and we were studying the life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur under her care, under her guidance. And as we studied the life of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I realized that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had experienced so many challenges in his life. At the same time, he took that time and he had that patience to be able to write so many books and to come to a level that can write those books in such a way that he would give those teachings for people like me to try to understand, how to engage in devotional service. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he taught us, this mood, which is in this prayer, Bhajan Lalasa, which for me, as I said, this prayer is very dear to my heart because it's helped me so much to understand this mood of waiting. And so he says, the treasure of patience in endeavoring to attain love of God. So this is one of the principles in the Bhajan Lalasa. The treasure of patience in endeavoring to attain love of God. So this treasure of patience that Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about requires waiting to really enter into this mood of endeavoring for love of God. And so I wanted to share a few pastimes that is helping me as an aspiring sadhaka to try to really pray to be in that mood of patiently endeavoring to attain love of God. And so one example for me is, of course, I'm sure most of you would say, yes, she's definitely going to speak something about him. And I will, His Holiness Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, because as many of you know or may not know, Bhaktitirtha Maharaj is my spiritual master. And of course, all of us, we've all learned, so much from our spiritual masters about patience, endeavoring on the path to love of God, love of Krishna. That's coming to us from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And so in this mood of patience, developing patience in the waiting process to attain love of God, Bhaktitirtha Maharaj's mood was always one of dedication and faith in the spiritual master, in Srila Prabhupada. From the very first day I met him, it was very clear to me that there was someone in his life that he loved very, very deeply. And I didn't understand much about Krishna consciousness. However, I could just see that when he spoke, and when he spoke about this person, Srila Prabhupada, there was just so much love that he had for Srila Prabhupada. And of course, his life is a reflection of that love. I think most of you may know stories about him from being on the library party with His Holiness Satsvarup Maharaj, how he went to Russia. I'm sure you know stories of him, of how he dedicated his life to go to Africa. I'm sure you know stories of him and just being a part of our institution. So many stories about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. However, there is one story that I want to share that has helped me to really want to imbibe this mood of waiting, of patiently, lovingly waiting as I am trying to endeavor on this path of bhakti. And so this story is about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj having a dream when he was going through the dying process. And he had this dream of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada told him that His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj would come for him when it was time to leave his body. And he shared that with us. He shared with us that that he had that dream. And so one day, as he's going through this process, we had a phone call from some devotees in Houston, Texas. And those devotees, they informed us that they wanted to bring Chota Radha Damodar to meet with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And so I remember receiving that phone call, and I remember speaking to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj about that, those devotees. I shared with him, these devotees want to come and visit you. And they have Chota Radha Damodar that they want to bring. And these Chota Radha Damodar deities belong to His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And I remember when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj heard that they wanted to come with Chota Radha Damodar, he immediately knew that those deities belong to His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So he shared with us, some of the caregivers, there were a few of us that was with him. He shared that Tamal Krishna Maharaj is coming for me. And so Srila Prabhupada has sent Tamal Krishna Maharaj for me. And so I'll be leaving shortly. And he was fully aware of that, and he was fully embracing that. It was that, okay, this is the reality. Prabhupada has sent Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And so this is the Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj that I knew as a spiritual teacher, that he had so much faith and trust in Srila Prabhupada. Everything that he ever did that I've seen in my life of trying to serve him, he did it in that mood of loving Srila Prabhupada, and in that mood of knowing that Srila Prabhupada would always be the one that would make arrangements for him with Krishna. He knew that, and he taught us that Srila Prabhupada will make these arrangements whatever arrangements are supposed to be made for me in my Krishna conscious life, and that Srila Prabhupada will make them. And so in that mood, I learned that his endeavors, all his endeavors in his life were endeavors that had that longing, that patience, that waiting, knowing that Srila Prabhupada would always make arrangements for him with Krishna. And so, of course, a few days after those devotees came, something that was very interesting about that time also, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj could not get out of the bed at that time. It was, he was, as everyone know, when you're in the dying process, the body cannot do so many things. So in any case, he was not able to get out of the bed. However, when the devotees arrived, actually he was lamenting. He was saying, "Oh, but they're coming and they're bringing Radha Damodar, and I can't get up to really offer them obeisance. I can't get up to really meet them. I can't, and he was feeling so sad. He was lamenting. However, when the devotees arrived, we arranged for them to set up Chota Radha Damodar And we set everything up nicely in the living room where I am in right now, where I'm sitting right now. And then Ekavira Prabhu, my husband, you know, he went in, shared with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj when everything was set up and that the devotees had come. And so we're trying to see now how many of the devotees can go into the room and how can we arrange to bring Chota Radha Damodar into the room. And then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, I want to go outside and meet them. I have to go outside and meet them, you know, because tomorrow Krishna Maharaj is coming. And he was just so excited about this. And so Ekavira Prabhu and a couple of the other servants, they got him and they brought him outside so that he could sit actually and take darshan of Chota Radha Damodar and take darshan with the devotees. And I remember the devotees were so happy. They were so excited about this exchange of love. And so this exchange of love for these devotees was it took time. It took time for them to really like get the courage to be able to call and say, we're coming with the deities, we're bringing the deities, you know, to meet with you. And they also, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, you know, the time that he took to move from the room from his bedroom to get outside to the living room to meet with the devotees was quite some time. But in that mood of being patient, of knowing that he was waiting for Krishna, and that Srila Prabhupada had made an arrangement, then he did whatever was necessary for him to lovingly connect with the devotees or lovingly have an exchange with the devotees. And so because I've been a part of seeing these kinds of exchanges has helped me to really imbibe within myself that this waiting period that I may be in now in my life is as we all are, as I said, we all are in this waiting period of, you know, we do so many things. However, there's always still a waiting period because ultimately we're all waiting to endeavor, you know, for this love of Krishna. And so in this waiting period, I have seen from the example of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his prayers, I have seen from the example of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and his dedication and his devotion to Srila Prabhupada, his conviction, his just everything about him was that Srila Prabhupada will arrange for me. Srila Prabhupada will arrange. And so when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, of course, we know a part of this pastime that when he was leaving his body, that one of the statements that he made to Srila Radhanath Maharaj was, it does not get better than this. It does not get better than this. So that waiting period for him was a joyful waiting period. He experienced such happiness. It does not get better than this. So for me, the treasure of patience in endeavoring to attain love of God via the spiritual master, for me, I know that the spiritual master will make arrangements for me with Krishna. And whether my spiritual master is arranging with Srila Prabhupada, I know I have a bright future. So this waiting period is just such a sweet waiting period for a sadhaka, for a devotee. Another person, as I shared, I will share a few personalities that have inspired me to speak about this theme of waiting. Another personality that have inspired me is His Holiness Srila Radhanath Maharaj. And by Krishna's grace, by Krishna's arrangement, I have a very beautiful personal story to share about Srila Radhanath Maharaj that I don't know if I've shared this. So I don't know. But anyway, this is all as I said, my title is The Wait and Aspiring to be a Devotee. I'm aspiring to become a sadhaka. And so in that wait, when I was a new devotee, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj arranged for me to get initiated in New Vrindavan. And he was traveling, and he arranged that I would attend the initiation ceremony in New Vrindavan. At that time, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was a sannyasi, so he could not initiate me. So it was arranged that I would take initiation from Kirtananda. And when I got Prabhu, Kirtananda Prabhu, and so when I got to New Vrindavan and I sat in the ceremony, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was the priest. So he was the one that did the fire yagya. And years later, many years later, I learned also that Srila Radhanath Maharaj had given that name, my name, Vraja Lila. So this connection of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and Srila Radhanath Maharaj has been a part of my life since 1979, since I joined Krishna consciousness. So it wasn't an accident that Radhanath Swami would be the person that would be there when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was leaving the planet. And for me, it was just, that was how it was supposed to be. Radhanath Swami was supposed to be there because Radhanath Swami had always been a part of our Krishna conscious life. And so when Radhanath Swami, again, I just share a pastime that happened in the process when Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was leaving his body, that has helped me to, as I said, to want to speak more about how sweet this waiting can be, how sweet it can be. And so Radhanath Swami, he initially came to stay with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj for a week. And then, as you know, Radhanath Swami had, he had different engagements planned for 6 months. His schedule was full for 6 months. And when he came to meet with Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he came initially to see Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and then Bhakti Tirtha Swami requested him to stay. And you all know this pastime. Many of you know the pastime. Most of you, I'm sure, know the pastime. So anyway, when he came, that was the original agreement. He would stay a week. And then he ended up, as you know, staying something like 6 weeks or maybe even more. And it was even more. And so Radhanath Swami, in this time that he was there, that he was with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, this time of waiting, patiently waiting with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, because Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj didn't actually leave his body in the time that Radhanath Swami thought he was going to leave his body. So that's why he ended up having to stay a longer time. And so what I saw in that loving reciprocation between Radhanath Swami and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was this exchange of knowing that Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was going to be leaving. Radhanath Swami patiently every day, every single day, just coming to talk with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, read to him, just be in his association. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj just patiently, lovingly wanting to be in Radhanath Swami's association as he was lovingly waiting for Srila Prabhupada to make the arrangements for him to meet with Krishna. And so this is also kind of so interconnected. And for me, as an aspiring sadhaka, it's kind of bewildering in many ways, because how is this going on? It's like almost mystical in a sense, However, as I saw that type of loving interaction with them, I could understand that as Radhanath Swami was patiently waiting with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj took that time to request Radhanath Swami to write the book, The Journey Home. I remember we used to always hear so many stories from the journey home. However, we were always hankering to kind of learn about those pastimes more and to really be able to relish them more, and to hear them all in one place. But we will always hear snippets or little bits of these different pastimes. And so when Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj requested Radhanath Swami to write that book, Radhanath Swami, because Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was leaving his body, Radhanath Swami agreed. He said, okay, because he realized that was the request, right, of a person that's leaving and his friends, his very dear friends. And so he agreed. However, Radhanath Maharaj tells us later that he was going to share with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj in a couple of days that he couldn't write that book because Radhanath Swami never wanted really to write that book, you know, because he just didn't think that that was something devotees would really, really, really be interested in. And he had so many different reasons why he wasn't so connected to writing the book. But Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj knew, he understood, he knew that those pastimes would change the hearts of devotees. He knew, and he knew that Radhanath Maharaj had so much that he needed to give to the devotees by way of what he had been given from Srila Prabhupada through writing. And so here, that patience again, that patience of waiting. So all of us, you know, have waited for so many years to hear those pastimes. And then there are the pastimes, right? Here's the journey home. Here we all can, you know, get in absorbed in these pastimes of just amazing, very saintly devotee. And so this is the mood of devotees. They're having loving exchanges all the time. And in these loving exchanges, they're patiently showing us, they're waiting, they're showing us, look, these loving exchanges are so real. And all of these loving exchanges are only in the mood of endeavoring and waiting for the Lord, all for serving, for being with the Lord. And so one other example I want to share, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, we are eternally indebted to him for coming and staying, you know, with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. We always say that we were primary caregivers. However, His Holiness Radhanath Swami was really the primary caregiver of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, because not only was he patiently waiting for Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj to be taken by Srila Prabhupada to whatever was going to be next, he also patiently waited with us. And he patiently assisted us to understand how to just be, how to be still and just wait, how to just wait and wait with love according to our capacity. And so the next person, the next personality that's so very saintly that I wanted to share with all of you, that has inspired me to come up with this, to bring this theme, not that I'm coming up with anything, but just to share this theme of waiting, this waiting theme, is Mother Krishnanandini, who is going to be speaking tomorrow night to all of us. And Krishnanandini is one of the most incredible personalities that I also have met, that I've been inspired by so much to be able to understand this theme of waiting. So Mother Krishnanandini, she also has this pastime with Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada requested Mother Krishnanandini, I'm sure she's going to share this tomorrow. Hopefully she'll be able to share more about this. But Prabhupada requested her to extend herself to developing love and care amongst Grihastha couples in ISKCON. At the time that Srila Prabhupada requested that of her, as far as she has told us, and as far as I also was aware of, there was a large percentage of divorces in ISKCON. And it was a little gloomy in terms of Grihastha relationships. And so Krishnanandini, she was a little bit bewildered, like, why are you why is Srila Prabhupada asking me? I'm so unqualified. And she tells that at the time she was divorced, she had 7 children, And even though, she says, even though I would never have said but to Srila Prabhupada. She said, I would have never said but to Srila Prabhupada. She said, at that time, she says, but Prabhupada, I don't even have a husband. How can I do the service? You know, she's divorced, 7 children, right? And he just looked at her through, and he to let her know, I give you this instruction, and you need to endeavor to carry it out. You need to endeavor, you need to find a way to carry it out. And she did. She found a way to carry that instruction out. And by that endeavor, that patient endeavor of waiting, because Prabhupada gave her that instruction, waiting to be able to find ways of how to inspire this Grihastha ashram, she has changed thousands of hearts around ISKCON. She has brought couples to understand what is the real meaning of Grihastha life. And she, along now with a team of Grihasthas, are making such a difference. They've written books, and so many wonderful things are going on in the Grihastha in the Grihastha Vision team. And I'm so grateful, Ekavira and myself, are a part of it. This, as many of you know, Krishnandini has sent a letter to. She sent a letter out to the devotees on Facebook about her condition. As you know, that she's now in hospice care, which means the final stage of perhaps leaving the body. As I speak of her, I also speak of my mother, who is in that stage also. My mother is also having hospice care. And yes, and so, yeah, both my mom and Krishnandini are going through this at the same time. And Krishnandini, what she shared in her, for those of you that may not have heard this yet, she shared in her Facebook page, yesterday, I was sent home from the hospital for hospice care. After nearly 6 months of intense Ayurvedic treatment in India, plus another 3 months of brutal chemotherapy, radiation, and excruciating pain and extreme low energy for weeks. After losing all of my hair, the doctors have concluded that there is nothing more they can do for the cancer that just appears to keep spreading in this body. But now the body is dealing with less pain, and sometimes I have more energy. This healing journey started in January 2018, and only our sweet Lord knows how it will end, endeavoring with patience. Only our sweet Lord. For me, it means surrender and trust more and more, surrendering with patience, endeavoring with patience. So we can see that Mother Krishnandini is experiencing real challenges in her body. We understand cancer is very, it's an illness that it teaches many lessons. One of the lessons is that one day you can be okay, and the next day you can think you're dying, you're leaving. And so going through that with not knowing what each day will bring is a tremendous burden and waiting. It can be for some people, right? So even though she's going through this, on a daily basis, the wait, again, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the treasure of patience is endeavoring to attain love of God. That's our waiting. And so Mother Krishnandini has said, as I am able, I pray to be able to participate in Zoom and other online seminars to share as the Lord allows. As one of our great acharyas, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, as long as there is life, there is hope. My hope is to be able to serve the Lord and His servants with gratitude and appreciation until my sweet devotional end. This is the mood. This is the mood of these amazing devotees. that despite whatever material situation may be going on, despite whatever challenges, whether it's through our bodies, it's through our minds, it's through our environment, whatever challenges, they're absorbed. They're absorbed in the mood of patiently endeavoring to serve the Lord and the Lord's devotees. So these devotees have helped me in developing and somehow wanting to understand this weight, And so there's also this devotee, this personality that we all know so well, right? Draupadi. And so as we know, Draupadi, she's famous for waiting in an assembly of many senior personalities and thinking that these personalities would come to her aid, they would help her. And we know the story, many didn't, right? And as she's there, right, just thinking, how could they not come to my support? What is wrong? How could they not do this? So she then calls out to Krishna. She calls out, Govinda, hey, Govinda. And so in that way, Krishna came. And so we hear a part of that story where Draupadi is asking, why it took you so long, Krishna? Why it took you so long? And Krishna says, well, you were thinking so many other people would help you. You're waiting. You're the one that was calling on others to help you. I came immediately when you called me. Soon as you called me, I came. So this is the paradox in our Krishna consciousness that Rukmini spoke about. Rukmini from Urban Devi. She's such an amazing soul. She was one of the first devotee that gave His Holiness Bhaktitirtha Maharaj, my spiritual master, shelter at the Brooklyn Temple in New York when he joined the temple there. Bhaktitirtha Maharaj was new devotee, and Rukmini kept speaking with him, kept encouraging him. And so Rukmini spoke about paradoxes. And so that's something that is so familiar in our scriptures and in our lives. The paradox of us waiting for Krishna, and at the same time, Krishna is waiting for us. He's just waiting for us. Actually, he's waiting for us more than we're really waiting for him, at least more than I am waiting for him, because I am an aspiring sadhaka, and I am endeavoring, doing many different things, so many different things. Especially, it seems like during the coronavirus, at least I've gotten even more busy, doing more than I was doing before the coronavirus. But in doing all of these different things, what is it that we're actually doing? What are we really doing? What am I really doing? I am simply wanting, longing to be in this mood that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has shared with us. Patiently endeavor for this love for Krishna. And so I want to share with you a little clip of Srila Prabhupada, just to kind of let us enter into this theme of waiting.
So Madan Gopal Prabhu will share it from his end. I've coordinated.
Okay, so Madan Gopal Prabhu.
There was some trouble in the forest because Kansa was after Krishna to kill him. He was sending his assistants. So some Asura would come, Bakasura, Ghasur, and Krishna would kill. And the boys would return and narrate the story to their mother. Oh, my dear mother, such and such thing happened and Krishna killed it. Very the mother is, oh, yes, our Krishna is very wonderful. So Krishna was there enjoying. That's the mother speaking of Krishna, the boy speaking of Krishna. So therefore they did not know anything but Krishna. Krishna, whenever there is some trouble of Krishna, and there is fire of Krishna. That is the beauty of it. Their mind is absorbed in Krishna, not through philosophy, not through understanding, but natural love. Krishna, our village boy, our relative, our friend, our lover, our master. So I love Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so very much. So in conclusion, is it worth the wait for me as an aspiring sadhaka? Yes, it's very much worth the wait, because I have seen others just be such example of waiting and of them being able to understand completely this love that Krishna is waiting to give to us. So I am just praying that I can be in this mood of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, waiting, to be patient as I wait. And so I'd like to leave you with this wonderful verse to ponder as I take leave from whatever little that I have been able to share. This, everybody, I believe all of you know this verse. This verse was initially, I learned this verse from a very dear devotee friend. His name is Janmashtami Prabhu. His wife's name is Sankalpa. And he was, at the time I was taking Bhakti Sastri, he was coordinating, he was in care of the Institute for Bhakti Sastri. And I remember he shared this verse with me once, and it's always stayed with me, and I'm sure it's a precious verse for all of you. So Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-8. Tate nukampam shishamikshomano ujani evatma kritam vipakam ridvagva purhir vidahan namaste jivate yo mukte pade sadaibak. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. And so I thank all the devotees that are always sharing and teaching me to be in this mood, to wait patiently. I see Vegvati and Swarga, they have been such amazing instruments in helping me to understand this mood of waiting. So many other beautiful devotees. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Mother Vraja Lila, on behalf of all the devotees in attendance. And thank you to all the wonderful devotees who have attended today. It was a very uplifting talk and such an important aspect of our Krishna consciousness, waiting for Krishna. The wait itself is also so full of sweetness because it's infused in that little video that you shared of Srila Prabhupada. It was just the icing on the cake. It was just perfect, and just invoking the wonderful memories of such exalted devotees, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and Mother Krishnanandini, who's going to be joining us, by the way, tomorrow. So please be sure to join us tomorrow evening to hear from Mother Krishnanandini. This is such a wonderful, preparation of our consciousness to hear from her tomorrow, and then to remember and to take Krishna consciousness seriously and to take it to the next level in our own lives. And we are very grateful to you and Ekavira Prabhu for being such examples and of caring, loving leadership, servant leadership, how to be a servant and lead at the same time, and inviting all of us to be servant leaders. So thank you so much once again. So before we go, please hold on. I have a couple of important announcements, and then I'll open it up for everyone to say a quick Haribol to Mother Vraja Lila, just to say hi. So I have a couple of quick announcements regarding our upcoming events. So of course
Madan
we
Gopal,
have.
Madan Gopal, before you share your announcements, may I please just say, I just would like to thank one of my mentors, Burjan Prabhu, who shared with us, me and Ekavir Prabhu, that beautiful clip of Srila Prabhupada. I want to thank him very much.
Thank you to Burjan Prabhu. That was a very moving clip, by the way, just absolutely fantastic. So upcoming events. So we had today Her Grace Vraja Lila Mataji, and then tomorrow, it's not on the poster, but we have Mother Krishna Nandini tomorrow 8 o'clock at the same time. And then that's Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have Shubh Vilas Prabhu on Pastime Lord Hanuman. And then Friday, we have His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami on the first canto. And Saturday, we have a special guest from Australia, His Grace Kurma Prabhu. And he's famous for his Kurma cookbooks, but he'll talk about Srila Prabhupada's pastimes in Australia. And then Saturday evening is Bhakti Rasamrita Swami. So Saturday morning, 11 o'clock is Kurma Prabhu. Saturday evening, 8 p.m. is Bhakti Rasamrita Swami. And then Sunday evening at 6 p.m., Amarendra Prabhu will round out this week. And then there'll be more speakers next week. So please stay tuned. If you'd like to keep up or just see what the next speakers are, you can go to our ISKCON of New Jersey website. That's iskonofnewjersey.org. And just to stay on top of these events. So I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself, and you can say a quick Haribol and greeting to Mother Vraja Lila. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Mataji, thank you.
Mataji, thank you.
Hare.
Haribol.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Haribol.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Krishna,
Thank
Haribol.
you. Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Haribol. Haribol. Haribol. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Haribol.
You gave us such a nice examples. Thank you
Hare
very much.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hari Hari.
Lila Mataji. Lila Mataji.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Jai.
Yeah. Thank you. Hari Hari. Wow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hey. Shout out to Lila Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Haribol. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Prema Mai Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Haribol.
Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Hare.
Jai.